All right, everyone, it's time to talk about the Tiger. Good morning, YouTube. So I'm sitting here with the Tiger 900 GT Pro, which most of y'all know I have absolutely loved every minute of having this bike since I got it a couple months ago. It's by far the most ergonomically comfortable bike I have. It's the most fun to ride. It's the highest performing. It's the most confidence inspiring. Just all around, it's my favorite bike right now. However, there's one quibble that I have on this bike that I think deserves its own video to talk about because it is so frustrating. And that is this bike literally cooking me alive. Let me explain. So here in Texas, we have had basically record-setting heat. It's been over 100 more days than I can count. I think we're actually on track to set records for, if not the hottest summer, one of the top 3 hottest summers on record ever here in Texas. So with these very high ambient temperatures comes a pretty hot engine. This bike is a commuter bike for me, so I ride every day to work, and unfortunately I have a pretty short commute and I don't ever get on the highway, so it's a pretty slow commute and there's a bunch of stoplights. What that means is by the time I get home, the tops of my legs, like right around my knee and just above my knee, are basically roasted after only like 10 to 15 minutes of riding. The cause of this? The radiators on the Tiger 900. So the Tiger 900 has these big cutouts on the sides, which is the exhaust port for the radiator. You'll notice that in a riding position, that is ported right at your knees. So when you're commuting and you get stuck at a stoplight in these high ambient temperatures, your engine starts heating up really fast, fan kicks on the radiator to pull some more air through and get better cooling to your engine, and that hot air gets exhausted out right against your legs. Now, if you saw my first video with this bike where I took delivery of it and I rode it home, you'll remember that I got stuck in highway traffic that was stop and go for like an hour and a half for me to get home. It was absolutely crazy. In that video, kind of in real time as I'm vlogging taking the bike home, I started complaining about, my left leg is starting to feel really warm. So one thing I am noticing right off the bat on this bike is that my left thigh is getting pretty warm. The front of this bike actually has a split radiator design, and I'm wondering if maybe the left just, I don't know, runs hotter and it's pumping hot air on my leg or something. I'm not sure. At any rate, that is the source of the heat. It's 100% from the radiator, and it is really, really hot. Now, I've been riding this bike a lot on the weekends, and I would say I try to go out early, so it's usually only 85 to 90 degrees when I'm riding, not over 100, but nonetheless pretty warm. And when I'm out on a ride where I'm, getting up to highway speeds, or I'm not having to do any stop and go at stoplights or anything like that, this bike performs great, and I don't get any heat. But I really wish I would have known about the commuter problem, I'll call it, before I bought this bike. So after I started experiencing all this heat, I immediately went to the forums, and I actually found at that time there were a lot of people complaining about that with their Tigers. And in fact, the Tiger 800s had a similar problem. A lot of people complained about the heat on those bikes as well. But at any rate, I saw that somebody is actually manufacturing a deflector that you can install into the bike to help direct some of that hot exhaust air coming out of your radiator up and away from your legs. So I bought some. I'm going to install those a little bit later on the bike, and we're going to see if there's an improvement. So let's see what happens. So I'm out here on the Tiger after installing the new radiator deflectors, and we're going to do a little short ride through some stoplights and see if we can heat it up and see if we've got an improvement. My bike is saying that the ambient temperature is 90. That'll probably climb a couple degrees while we're out. That should definitely be hot enough to get some of that radiator heat that we experienced before, so we'll see how it does. All right, we got our first stoplight. All right, first stoplight, so the bike ought to be heating up right now. I'll probably feel it when we come off the light, so this will be the first test. So far, so good. So we're obviously stuck in some slow city traffic. I've been through a couple lights so far, and not feeling too bad of a heat. Ambient says 94 degrees from the bike, so it's definitely warm enough that I should have a problem, so we'll keep riding a little bit and see what happens. So far we've been through a lot of lights, a lot of really slow traffic, and I haven't had a problem yet. It's maybe a little warm, but it's not as warm as it usually is. I've been averaging about like 20 to 30 miles an hour, so it's definitely slow. Definitely not getting a lot of airflow. I think if I was gonna be heating up as bad as I was before, I'd see it by now. So we'll keep going, we'll see how it does. It's another good light to stop at here. It's definitely warm. We've got 96 on the bike here, so definitely not a cool day in Texas. All right, so now that I'm moving a little bit, I do feel the heat coming off the radiators. It's not quite as obnoxious, I don't think, as it typically is, but you know, it's still there. I don't think I'm ready to say that those deflectors do enough to make this bike comfortable in these temperatures. Honestly, that's a little disappointing because I really want them to work. You know, I really wanted relief, so it was more practical to commute this bike to work, but you know, I'm just really not getting that much more relief. I don't want to say they're doing nothing. I think they're doing something, but it's you know, it's not, it hasn't changed my life. Yeah, honestly, my legs are still pretty hot. I gotta say, it's not a big improvement. Yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer, honestly. I really had high hopes for these things. I was so excited, but I don't know. I'm not sure that these are I'm not sure these are worth the money, frankly. Yeah, putting my hand down here trying to see how it's deflecting the heat, if I can tell if it's really deflecting it up. I don't think it's deflecting it upwards all that much. Yeah, I don't think these do anything. I really don't. My legs are just as hot as they would normally be at this time, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that these radiator exhaust deflectors are debunked. Don't work. So as you guys can see, I am plenty hot. It was really hot out there. Rode for about 20 minutes, low speeds in traffic at stoplights. And I really didn't see that much improvement. My legs are probably not literally burned like they were before, but there's still a ton of heat. So I guess maybe they did their job if, you know, the experience is not as severe as it was before, but jury is still out. I think I'm not really convinced that that upgrade did a lot for me. So thanks for watching, and I'll try to update this video later as I ride some more with those. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching.